From the earliest cities of Mesopotamia and the Nile Valley, a tension has pulsed beneath the surface of every organized society. The tension between those who hold power and those who carry the weight. At some point in every age, ordinary people have looked at that arrangement and decided they would no longer accept it. I'm Arthur Winslowe. I've spent decades studying the moments when ordinary people refuse to be silent. And right now, as I record this, the people of Iran are risking everything to demand change. Thousands have already paid with their lives. That made me want to look back, all the way back, at the full arc of human uprising. Because what is unfolding in Tehran today is not new. It is ancient. It is eternal. This is the history of uprisings. To understand where we are, we have to go back to where it all began. Around 1152 BCE, in the sun-scorched desert of ancient Egypt, a group of skilled workers put down their tools and refused to move. These were the artisans of Deir el-Medina, the men who spent their lives carving the royal tombs in the Valley of the Kings. They built eternity for the most powerful rulers on earth, and yet they couldn't get their wages. The pharaoh's administrators had simply stopped delivering the grain, oil, and cloth that formed their pay. For months, the workers marched on the compound and demanded what they were owed, and the state ultimately backed down. Their strike was recorded on papyrus. It is the earliest documented labor uprising in human history. That document still exists today, housed in the Egyptian Museum. Here is the irony that I love about this story. The men who built the pharaoh's tomb had to go on strike to afford their groceries. What drives a people to risk everything? Injustice, hunger, hope, and the belief that tomorrow could be different. Nearly 1,000 years later, in 73 BCE, a Thracian gladiator named Spartacus broke free from a gladiatorial school in Capua with fewer than 80 men. Within 2 years, his movement had swelled to an army of an estimated 70,000 to 120,000 people, enslaved men, gladiators, and desperate freemen, who repeatedly outmaneuvered Rome's finest legions across the Italian peninsula. When he was finally defeated, 6,000 of his followers were crucified along the Appian Way as a warning to all who dared resist. What history often forgets is this: Spartacus didn't want to overthrow Rome. Ancient sources suggest he wanted to escape, to lead his people over the Alps and out of Roman reach entirely. His own followers kept pulling him back. Many of history's most famous uprisings were improvised, internally divided, and not quite what we later tell ourselves they were. Meanwhile, the Jewish people launched 2 devastating revolts against Roman rule, uprisings that ended with the destruction of the Second Temple and the near-total expulsion of Jews from Judea. Those revolts shaped Jewish identity and diaspora history for millennia to come. By the late 18th century, new ideas about liberty, natural rights, and self-governance were spreading across the Atlantic world like sparks in dry tinder. In the American colonies, resentment over taxation without representation had reached a breaking point. In December 1773, colonists dumped 342 chests of British tea into Boston Harbor. By 1776, they had declared independence from the most powerful empire on earth. Washington's crossing of the Delaware on Christmas night became the turning point that kept the revolution alive.
In France, it was bread prices and a broken monarchy that lit the fuse. On July 14, 1789, a Paris crowd stormed the Bastille, a royal prison and symbol of tyranny. They found only 7 prisoners inside. But the act ignited the French Revolution, producing the Declaration of the Rights of Man, and eventually descending into the Terror. where the revolution began devouring its own. But the most radical uprising of the era unfolded in the Caribbean. In the French colony of Saint-Domingue, enslaved people launched a massive revolt in August 1791, led by the brilliant Toussaint Louverture, a man born into slavery who educated himself and became a military genius.
The Haitian Revolution became the only successful slave revolt in recorded history to produce an independent nation. Napoleon betrayed Toussaint, had him arrested, and sent to die in a French mountain prison. But on January 1st, 1804, Haiti declared independence, the first black republic in the world. Here is something the textbooks rarely emphasize. The United States did not formally recognize Haiti until 1862, 58 years after independence, because American slaveholders were terrified of the example. The most successful uprisings are often punished long after the fighting stops. Some uprisings ignite new nations, others unleash chaos, or simply replace one tyranny with another. In 1848, revolution swept Europe like a contagion. Over 50 countries experienced some form of popular revolt in what historians call the springtime of nations. Most were suppressed within months, but they planted the seeds of democracy, nationalism, and labor rights that would flower in the century ahead. In Russia, decades of imperial repression and catastrophic wartime losses finally exploded in 1917. The Tsar was toppled. 8 months later, Lenin's Bolsheviks seized power and ultimately replaced one form of autocracy with another. In India, Mahatma Gandhi set out on March 12, 1930, with just 78 followers on a 240-mile march to the sea. His goal? To make salt, a simple act of civil disobedience against a British tax that had criminalized one of life's most basic necessities. By the time he reached the coast, 24 days later, thousands had joined him. India achieved independence in 1947, showing the world that an empire could be challenged without a single gun. Across Africa and Asia, anti-colonial movements multiplied. Ghana, Kenya, Algeria, Vietnam, Indonesia, each one a chapter in humanity's long drive to reclaim sovereignty. As the world modernized, so too did the dream of self-rule and the power of the people's voice. Now let's look at the modern era, where uprisings became globally visible and the stakes became more dangerous than ever. On November 9, 1989, an East German government spokesman named Günter Schabowski sat down at a press conference and made a historic mistake. He hadn't been properly briefed. When asked when new travel regulations would take effect, he glanced at his notes and replied, "Immediately, without delay." Within hours, jubilant crowds gathered at checkpoints across Berlin. Guards, overwhelmed and awaiting orders that never came, simply stood aside. Berliners began chipping away at the wall with hammers and picks. The defining symbol of the Cold War fell, not to an army, but to a press conference blunder and a determined crowd. 2 decades later, a Tunisian street vendor named Mohamed Bouazizi set himself on fire on December 17, 2010, in protest over relentless harassment by local officials. His act ignited the Arab Spring, a wave of uprisings across North Africa and the Middle East. Tunisia's dictator fled within weeks. Egypt's Hosni Mubarak, who had ruled for 30 years, fell within 18 days of mass protests in Tahrir Square. But the Arab Spring's aftermath was deeply uneven. Libya descended into civil war, Syria into catastrophe. Bahrain's uprising was crushed by foreign troops. The same spark, wildly different outcomes. Today, a single post can rally millions. but the risks remain as great as ever. Which brings us to Iran, and the reason I felt compelled to make this documentary right now. Beginning in late 2025, protests erupted across Tehran and beyond, driven by economic collapse. Iran's currency had lost nearly 90% of its value since 2018. A government budget increased security spending by 150%, while offering workers wage increases worth less than half of inflation. On January 8, 2026, Supreme Leader Khamenei ordered security forces to show no mercy. At least 30,000 people were reported killed in the first 48 hours, the deadliest crackdown since the Islamic Republic's founding. An internet blackout concealed the carnage from the world for days. The conflict continues as of this broadcast. The people of Iran are not a footnote to history. They are living inside it right now. So why do uprisings happen? Across millennia, the triggers converge on a few constants: economic desperation, political exclusion, foreign domination, and, crucially, the spread of new ideas that tell people their suffering is not inevitable. When enough people believe that things can be different, the calculus of resistance shifts. But the outcomes are anything but predictable. Some uprisings birth new nations: America, Haiti. Some install new oppressions under revolutionary banners: France's terror, Russia's Stalinism. Some are crushed with mass violence, leaving only grief and silence. Some succeed slowly through the long arc of nonviolent resistance, as in India. History offers no guarantee, only the consistent observation that human beings have never, in any era, stopped trying. From the artisans of Deir el-Medina setting down their chisels in the desert heat, to the protesters in Tehran holding up smartphones as security forces advanced. The impulse to say, "This is wrong, and we will not endure it," has never been extinguished. From torches to tweets, the call for justice echoes through time. The tools change. The risk remains constant. Your life, your freedom, your future. The question is not whether the next uprising will come. It always does. When the next spark is lit, where will you stand? I'm Arthur Winslowe. Thank you for joining me on History Unlocked. If this documentary moved you, please share it with someone who needs to see it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. History is not something that happened to other people. It is happening to all of us, right now.